Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Dia Rahmawati. I'm from third semester of English language. I want to make this speech J.K. Rowling speech. President Faust, members of the Harvard Corporation and the Board of Officers, members of the faculty, powers, and above all, graduates. The first thing I would like to say is thank you. Not only has Harvard given me extraordinary honor, but the weeks of fear and nausea I have endured at the thought of giving this commencement address have made me lose weight. A win-win situation. Not all I have to do is take that breath, squint at the red banners, convince myself that I'm at the world's largest defender reunion. Delivering a commitment address is great responsibility, or so I thought until I cast my mind back to my own graduation. The commencement speaker that day was the distinguished British philosopher Barnes. Mary Warnock, referencing or her speech has helped me enormously in writing this one, because it turns out that I can remember a single word she said. The liberation discovery enabled me to proceed without any fear that I need infidelity influence you to abandon promising carriage its business, the law or politics for the giddy delegates of becoming a gay wizard. You see, if all you remember in years to come is this gay wizard joke, I become out ahead of Barnes Mary Warnock. Achievable goals, the first step, self-improvement actually have waked my mind and heart for what I ought to say you today. I have asked myself what I wish had known at my own graduation and what important lessons I have learned in the 21 years and have experienced between that days and this. I have come up with two answers on this wonderful day when we are gathered together to celebrate your academic success. I have decided to talk to you about the benefit of failure and as you stand on the threshold of what is something called real life, want to extol the crucial importance of imagination. That's my same quitosis or paradoxal choice, but please bear with me. Looking back at the 21 years old, and I was at graduation is dignity uncomfortable experience for the 42 years old, and she has become half my lifetime ago. I was striking unitary balance between the ambition I had for myself and what those clothes might expected of me. I was confident that the only thing I wanted to do ever was to write novel. However, my parents, both of whom came from impressive backgrounds and neither of whom had been to college, took the view that my operative imagination was an emerging personal quick that would never pay a mortgage or secure a pension. I know that the irony strikes with the force of a cartoon apple now. So they hoped that I would take a vocational degree. I wanted to study English literature. The compromise was reached that in retrospect satisfied nobody. And I went up to study modern language hardly, and my parents rounded the corner at the end. The wrote an elegant German accent off down the conscious coordinator. I cannot remember telling my parents that I was studying classic. They will have found out of the first time on graduation day of all the subjects this planet. I think it would have been hard to name or less usable than Greek mythology when I came to scoring the cake and executive bedroom. I would like to make it clear in parentheses that I do not blame my parents for their point of view. There is experience that blaming your parents for steering in your wrong direction day. The moment you are old enough to take the wheel, responsibility lies with you. What is more, I cannot criticize my parents for hoping that I will never experience poverty. They had been poor themselves and have seen been poor and quite agree with them. Is it not ennobly? Experience poverty and far stress and something they present. It means 1,000 pretty humanitarians and handed slimming or poverty your own effort that indirect something on which pride yourself, but poverty itself romantically or only by fault. What I feel most myself and agree was not properly but quality. You at your age in spirit or distinct motivation on university, where I had spent far too long in the copy by writing stories and far too little time on lecture. I had connect for passing examination and that for years and been the measure of successful in my life and that of my purse. I'm not dull enough to suppose that because you are young, given and well educated, you have never known hardship, hard but talent, intelligent, never yet inclined anyone against the caprice of the feathers, and I don't for a moment suppose that everyone here enjoyed an extent of unqualified privilege and contentment. However, the fact that you are graduation for Harvard suggested that you are not very well equated with failure. You might be driven by fear failure with as much the driver for success, in that your conception fail me to be far from every person as ideal success. So have you already flawed? Ultimately, we all have to decide for ourselves the constitutional value, but the word is quiet anger to give you set on criteria of you let it. So I think it far to say by any conventional measure. A mere 7 years after my graduation day, I have quite an epic scale and an expectantly short life. Married had improved and I was jobless alone, parent and as for it's possible to be a mother and beaten without being harmed against the first the parent had before me and that I had for myself. I both came too fast and every was under I was the biggest wherefore I know. No, I'm not going to stand here and tell you that failure is fun. That period of my life a dark one and I had the idea that was going to be what the peasant was saying presented. I kind of funny tail resolution. I had the idea that for the tunnel extended for a long time and life and anyone's hope rather than a reality. So why do I talk about the benefit of failure? Simply because failure is stepping away of the essential. I stopped pretending to myself I was anything other than what I was. The began directing all my energy to finishing the only work that mattered to me had a really success but anything else. I may never have won the determination. Success is the one arena I voluntarily blogged. I was set free because my great fear had been realized. I was still alive and I still had the daughter whom I honored. I had only the waiter a big idea and so rock bottom become the solid foundation on which rebuilding my life. You might never fail on the scale I didn't, but some failure in life inevitable. Is it impossible to live without failing sometimes unless your life conditional that you might as well not have life in all which case you fail by default. Value gave me an inner security that I had never entered my passing examination without meeting about myself. I could have learned no other way, discovered that I had stronger and more discipline than I suspected. I also thought that I had friends whose Holly was truly above the Prince of Rubies, the knowledge that have Omega Visa and Soldier for State back means that you are ever after school in the ability to serve. You will never truly know yourself, be staying of your relationship until both have been tested by adversity. Such knowledge is too deep for us. That is painful one and has been worth more than any qualification I ever earned. So give us time tonight. I will tell my 21 years old self that personal happiness lies in following that life is not checklist of acquaintance and achievement. Your qualification, your GP are not your life. That will me, my pupil, my egg, and all the who confused to who live difficult and complicated and beyond anyone's total control, and the humility to know what we enable you to serve in vicissitude. No, you might think that I could second them. The important imagination because of the part in play replicating my life, but that's not fully so. Totally personal with divine it. The part it played define it the value of bedtime story. My last gaps I have learned follow imagination much broader sense. Imagination is not only the uniquely human capability and vision which is the not therefore the font of all invention and innovation. It is arguably most transformative and a fundamentally capacity power that enables to empathy with human whose experience we have never said. One of the great formative experience of my life presented Harry Potter through its format much of what I subsequently wrote in this book. This revelation came in the form of one my illness day job thought I was stopping off the right story the light or I paid the right my early 20 by working at the African Institute for my MSc International Harvard in London. There in my little office I really has the cerebral letter small gap to totally reality segment by men and women who were raising enforcement from outside world of what was happening to them. I saw photographed the two who had disbanded with hot treats sent to MST by their disparate family and friends. I read the testimony of 40 victims and saw picture their injuries. I openly had read a witness account, summary trials, and execution of kidnapping and rapes. Many of who workers we are political prisoners, people who have been disciplined for their harm or fled into exile because they had the temerity to speak against the government's visitors. The office including those had come give information to try and find out what had happened and those had my life. I shall never forget African fountain visiting a young man or older that was the time who had become mentally ill after he had endured his homeland. The regime was incontrollable as they spoke into a video camera about the brutality inflicted upon him. He was a footballer. Then I was and same fragile as child. I was given the job escorting him back to the underground station overboard, and his man was left and been set by crawling to my head with exquisite consistency and with the pure happiness. And as long as I lived, so I remember waking alone in petty coordinated, suddenly hearing for behind a closer door, a scream pain, a horror such I have never had seen. A door opening and Reader pocket the hair and told me run and make a hot drink for the young man sitting with her. She had just had given me the news that in relation for his own outspoken against his country, Reagan is murder and seasoned and executed. Every day of my working week in my early 20s, I was reminded how incredible fortunate I was to live in a country with a demonstrational elected government, where legal appreciation and public trial were right everyone. Every day I saw more evidence about the evil human will inflict on their fellow humans to gain or manpower. I began have meagre thirst about some the things I saw, heard, and breathe, and yet also learned about human goodness and Amnesty International than I had ever known before. Amnesty mobilizes thousands of people who have never been imprisoned for their benevolent act at behalf of those who have the power of human empathy, lending to collective action, save life. Free provisional ordinary people was persona began security are joined together in hook members save people then do not know and will ever meet my small participation. That process was one the most humbling inspiriting experience of my life. Unlike my other creator, the planet humans, the learner understand that without having experience, they can take themselves out people place. Of course, this is a power like brand of fictional magic that's morality natural. One make is such ability, manipulative or control just as much to understand or sympathize, and my favor to exercise the imagination at all. The choose remain comfortably with a breath of the experience, never troubling to wonder how what felt to have been brought other day. They can divorce the hair schemer to bear inside take the can cause their minds and hair to any fairing and doesn't touch them personally they can. Divorce to know I need to be tempered to any pupil who can live that way, except that I don't think they have any for makers. I don't causing life in no respect lets for mental agoraphobia and brings it own terror. I think we believe only with more monsters we often afraid. What is more, does the choose the impulses another monster for whatever community of authority over ourselves we call the withdraw our apathy. One of the my thing I earned at the end and classic corridor down which I feuded at age of 18 in search of something I call the divine voice thing written by Greg author future we are active inwardly in change of the reality that is an astonishing statement and yet proven 1,000 times every day of ourselves. It expresses a part of inseparable connection with the outside world, the parts that touch other people alive simply be excited. But how much more are you Harvard graduate of 2008 like the touch other people's life, your intelligence, your capital for hard work, the education you have earned has give you unique status and unique responsibility. Even your national set you apart, the great majority of you belong the world's only remaining superpower, the way you fought, the way you to life, why to protest, the pleasure you bring bear, your government has impact way beyond your brothers, your privilege and your burden. If you choose to use our status and influence to raise your voice behalf those who have no voice, if you choose identify not only with the powerful but with the powerless, if you retain the ability to imagine yourself into the life of those who don't have your appetites, then it will not Only your grown families who celebrate your extensive but thousands and millions of people. But really, you have helping change. We do not need magic to change the world. We carry all the power need inside ourselves already. We have the power. Imagine better. I'm nearly finished. I have one last hope for you, which something I already had at 21. The friends with whom I said graduation day have been my friend for life. They are my children's good parents, the people to whom I've been able to turn in time of trouble, people who have been kind enough not to sue when I look their name for that enters of our graduation. We are both my enormous affection by our shared experience of a time that could never come again, and of course by the knowledge that we have sentence photographic evidence that will be exceptionally valuable if any of run for prime minister. So today I wish you nothing better than similar friendship. And tomorrow I hope that ever if you remember not a single word of mine, you remember the send another of those old romance I met when I went down the classical corridor in return from carry lenses in search of ancient wisdom. As is a tale, so is life. Not how long it is, but how good it is. What matter? I wish you all very good life. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.